Hi, my name is Eleanor and welcome to Open Studio. As part of Cape Town TV's mentorship production program, we're hosting and producing a show called Elle-Vate. Now, Elle-Vate is all about celebrating, elevating young people, young leaders from our colored communities, creating change and making a difference in South Africa. Today, we're having a conversation with Nigel Saville. Nigel, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, where you're from. I just want to tell the viewers, I don't know much about Nigel, but I heard a lot of good things. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Awesome. So I'm from Strandfontein village in the Mitchells Plain area, in the Cape Flats area.
Okay.
Grew up in a coastal community. At the age of 5, my parents actually split. And I was introduced to the first mentor in my life, and that was my father. And I got introduced to surfing at the age of 11. It really changed my life, but my dad was an outdoor mountaineering person, so I was always introduced into nature. And I just found the power of nature, how it has an effect on a person's growth and a person's outlook in life. And so all of these things transformed my life, especially surfing. And that's what I am today because of surfing.
Yeah. You know, when I heard surfing is so synonymous with a certain sector of a community, and it really stood out, and I really felt I wanted to meet you. Why, you say your parents got divorced at 5, which is a very young age, but your dad remained a part of your life, and I want to come back to that a bit later. So he was your role model, and today's program is really about role models and about mentoring, because a lot of young people don't have someone to look up to. But how did surfing become like an important aspect of your life? How did that touch your life?
Yeah, I think surfing, the ocean itself is alive and it's beautiful. And the thing about the ocean, it demands respect.
Why do you say that?
Because you can't just go in there and you can be woo-woo. You know, the ocean, those waves are going to pound you regardless. You can have the biggest muscles, you can have the most money in the world. You know, you're going to have to respect the ocean because it's moving, it's living, it's not man-made, it's God's creation. And so going to the ocean every single day and every single morning, I would go, but my process to get there was simply this. I would have to say no to the friends the night before. I can't drink with you because I knew there's waves the next morning. So it started to teach me discipline. I had to get up in the morning. I have to make sure my wetsuit, my surfboard, all my equipment is packed, and I would go down to the beach. And I couldn't just paddle out. I had to find out, observe where the waves are breaking, which is the safest route to go out. And I couldn't just go out. I had to first stretch, because if I'm not going to stretch, I'm going to injure myself. So all of these things was processes. And as you go out, you know, the ocean has waves. You know, it's like life. Life doesn't stop happening. It doesn't give you a chance to breathe. And so the ocean doesn't give you a chance to say, like, the wave keeps coming. It keeps coming. And you need to learn to adapt. You need to persevere. You need to build resilience, determination to pierce through all these waves to get to the back line, which you want to get to, and it's a goal. But when you're there, you can't just take any wave. You have to choose the right wave. So start to produce quality decision making. So all of these values and principles started to filter in my life without me knowing. So unconsciously, and I start to see it having a strong effect in my daily life. Being a community member, being somebody that supports society, and that was the transformation. And I said, you know what, let me take note of this, and let me try to translate this into leadership, into mentorship.
I have a question. I'm going to come back to what you were saying, but how did you start surfing? Did someone teach you, or did you observe nature, and then did nature teach you all its laws and principles?
Yeah, I think from the age of 3, my dad took me to the mountains on his back in a carrier. And so I always had a love for the outdoor and nature. And me and my dad used to go boogie boarding. And I was there just frolicking in the front there. And then I saw these surfers going way back, and I just saw the grace and the style they surfed with. And I was like, I don't want to just be here in front, you know what I mean? I want to discover more. And then there was a gentleman in my road called Bradley, and he was a surfer. And I said, hey, how do I do this thing, you know? And he actually gave me my first surfboard. And I used to go with him. He didn't teach me, he just gave me the surfboard. So I had to teach, be taught myself. I had to experience getting bashed by the waves. I had no coach at the time, so everything for me was experience on my own. And so, but the powerful thing about the ocean is like, it's like you measure yourself with it in a sense, you know. You start off ankle deep, you go knee deep, you go waist deep. And so too in life, you progressed in steps to success. And that was the experience for me.
Wow. I like the way that you almost speak in metaphors. You know, that sometimes you go through life and the waves would be like crashing.
Yeah.
But you kind of noted how to navigate your way. Why the name 9 Miles? It's called the 9 Miles Project. You are the founder of the 9 Miles Project.
Correct.
Why the name, firstly?
So the beach I grew up surfing is called 9 Miles.
Okay.
And
Which beach is that?
it's Strandfontein
It's
Beach.
Strandfontein,
Strandfontein
okay.
Beach, it's a surf spot called 9 Miles Beach. And because back in the day, surfers of color couldn't surf in Muizenberg because of apartheid. And so they ventured down the coast from Muizenberg, and they found Strandfontein, and they found this beach.
Wow.
And it's actually 9 miles from Muizenberg. And that is the late Ahmed Collier, Robbie Abrams, all these fathers of the colored community of surfing. And that became the space. It became the gathering of all surfers, families, and it was such a great community. And it was such a safe space from us what was happening in our community. Because I mean, you could get drugs easily, you could get alcohol easily. And so if you didn't have identity, you were going to get sucked into this lifestyle, you know. So surfing was escape for our life. Constantly, the beach was a safe haven for us, you know, and it really produced the character and the people that we are today because of that safe space. And so when I started the project, I named it after a place that gave me hope and brought transformation in my life.
Wow. Nigel, when we come back, I want to continue this conversation by you saying it created a safe space. Your neighborhood or the area where you came from, what kind of social ills existed that you were able to move away from and finding this area to create change in your life, but also then change in other people's lives?
So just over the hill by me
Yes.
was a bottle store, not really a bottle store, like a tavern or something like that, called Hector. And Hector would sell alcohol to 13-year-olds.
My.
So we got introduced to drinking at a young age, you know, and then of course there was a lot of rastas in the community, and so the smoking of marijuana was easily, you know, I mean, cigarettes, that's a basic thing, you know, it's accessible. You already start smoking cigarettes at school, you know.
I kind of want to say the story is going to get very interesting, but before so, let's take an ad break, and when we come back, I would like Nigel to tell us more about the social ills in that community called Strandfontein. Thank you so much for joining us once again. I want to introduce Nigel Sabel to you. He's the founder of a project called the 9 Miles Project, which is based in Strandfontein, as well as we're going to get to that Elands Bay and St. Francis Bay. Nigel, tell us a bit more about the social ills and how you escaped it at that time. It's still existing, but I want to know more about you, please.
I think, there wasn't a lot of recreation or activities for youth at the time, you know. And so because marijuana and alcohol was so readily available for us at any time, you know, and it was almost like the people would just gather around that. It was almost like a truth to say that you can't have fun without having substance, you know, and so that became the norm in our communities. And then what you started to find was that gangs started to infiltrate the communities, I guess, started to sell buttons, started to sell tuk, and all of these things started to come into our communities and started to filter. So instead of sitting with a beer and marijuana, it went to now maybe the guys are smoking buttons, or they're starting to tuk now, and then ecstasy also came into our communities, the rave scene, all of that, you know, and because there was no solid structures for young people, they would just filter into these things, you know. So with any party that you went to, these things were always available, you know, and it's just if you had identity, your strength, you know what I mean, willpower to overcome it, you could, you know. But for many of us, we did get entangled in those things, but somehow surfing every time just started to break those cords to a place where we could actually say, actually, we don't want this for our lives, you know. And we had to then encourage the others to say, don't do this. But it was difficult at the time, you know, because you have a circle of friends, and if you say no, you're going to be on your own. And so we kind of formed a small community in the surfing world, you know, that would be there whole day, but we would come back and maybe we wouldn't fully engage, or we won't attend those things, you know. But it was a challenge, it was a struggle, because there was only that surfing for us and the social parties and things like that.
Social ills. Now, did you create activities? How did you get young people to join your group?
I think we first said, hey, you know, come surf, you know, and I think it's more than amazing. We actually went into the local community there, and we took a surfboard, we took a wetsuit, we took the surf equipment.
Did they think you were weird?
Yeah, and we just said, hey, these are these things, you know, and we engaged with them. We kind of just spoke a message of hope to that community. We fed them. And we just had some games and things, and we said, who would like to join? You know, and actually one of the young people that you're going to interview later is here. And he was like, you would like to be a part of this, you know, because it's interesting, it's something, you know. And that's how we kind of done it. So surfing is really the draw card, you know, but it has such more power than just being a draw card. It is really that catalyst for change. As I said earlier in the interview, the values and the principle that has taught me, it's still what I live by today, you know. As I tell the young people, that a little respect goes a long, long way. And that's the first thing in surfing that you learn is from the get-go is respect, you know. You can't turn your back on the ocean. You're going to be in trouble, you know. You're going to have to respect the ocean. You have to be one with the ocean. So it's all of these things.
You said something earlier that you also fed people in the community. How did you go about doing that?
At the end of the day, you know, you have to look the holistic component of a person that you're impacting. You know, you can't just have activity, but the child comes there hungry. You understand? So from day one, we made a commitment to always feed a child, to always look after the child. I mean, if they don't have a top, if they don't have clothes, if they don't have shoes on their feet, you know, you're offering such a wonderful thing, but yet they're still going back and they're still struggling with the basic human need.
To eat.
Exactly, you know. And for many of the times, even the meals at the project that we give the kids on a daily basis could be their first or second meal of the day, you know. And most of the times we also send meals home to the families, you know, to support them because of the unemployment and all the other social challenges that the parents face. The child goes hungry, the family goes hungry, you know what I mean? And so they're just living in this just the spiral that's turning downward constantly. So we try to be that holistic support on a front for community development.
Now you're helping the young people, the children, but many times they go home and they still have challenges at home. So you're assisting them by having something to eat, which I think is so important. There's children going to school and they're hungry. But are there any other aspects that you work with the adults, with the moms and dads?
So we do home-to-home visits. We have a clothing bank that we collect clothing, crockery, and furniture, or anything, you know. And so you see, when we engage a community, is that we engage the child, then we engage the family, then we engage the community. So we look after the whole community. So the thing about people want to effect change. It's all about the detail. Love is in the detail. And so you go there, you find out exactly their story, because everybody has a story that needs to be told. And so you go in there, you find out what their needs are, what's their aspirations, what's their dreams, and we assist with the basic things, but at the end of the day, we also assist with the aspirations, the dreams, you know. If there's unemployment there, let's get them on a database of the city, or let's help them, or meet somebody, and we have their CVs, and so we're constantly developing and growing. So we're not just turning a blind eye, you know, just to say we're working with these things. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, you guys are not a part of this, so we can't assist you, you know. But at the end of the day, if everybody is strengthened, then the community is strengthened, you know. And so it's one family at a time, but that's what we do. We meet the need. We go find out the need, and we go meet the need as best as we can.
I don't know why this is coming up in my head. You don't give someone a fish, you teach them how to fish as well. My question I wanted to ask you was mentorship. Because this sounds a lot that you're mentoring, but you're also creating leaders, and in turn, those leaders go out to create change in other leaders. Now, you have a motto, and I have to confess I forgot the motto, but you don't just walk with someone. Explain to me a bit more about that.
So I think, it's about you. Once you engage a life, you must be committed to walk with that person. Because if you're not, you're going to do
More harm.
More harm.
What do you mean
understand?
by that?
Meaning, if I engage someone, you don't know the layers, you don't know their story, right? So every time people have come and have said, I'll do this for you, promises and all of these things, and the minute they start opening up their heart, right? Now they're disappointed again, they're rejected again. So people got a lot of layers, right? So now you engage them. You first need to work through all of that layers before they allow you into their space and heart.
I'm being told I need to wrap up, so I want to take a break and I want to continue with that conversation. But when we come back, we've got two young leaders that went through the process of change and now creating change. I'm looking forward to chatting with them. Hi, I'm Eleanor for Open Studio, and welcome to Elle-Vate, where we share stories of people creating change in Cape Town. And I'm continuing my conversation with Nigel, but Nigel also brought some of his students along, if I can call them that, or more their team members now. They started out and now they're creating change with other people. The one young lady is Emma and the other one is Faik. But before I chat with the two of you, I want to ask Nigel a quick question. Nigel, you've got a program called, I think it's a leadership program, but when I read something, it stood out. You don't look at potential, you look at the change in them already. How do you get to that point, and how do you see that someone has shifted or changed in their own life?
I think the lessons that we teach them, the life skills lessons, the mentoring that we do, I think inside of all of them, there's just that special spark. But you see how they behave in company and with others, because but I think it's more that giving them the opportunity that the lessons they've learned gets reinforced by teaching others. So they become junior mentees.
I hear you now.
Yeah, and start. So what they have received throughout their time with the project, they need to give back. You understand? So so that we shift from just being like, okay, I'm just receiving and getting and growth for me, but with true growth comes is when they're starting to put that which they've learned into action. The practical side of things, which will reinforce and build the values and the principles, the foundations for their success in life, to paying it forward.
Basically. I like that. So just very quickly, what is mentoring? There's something called having role models, but what is mentoring?
Okay, so mentoring for me is simple, wisdom. Wisdom comes in two forms, through life experiences or through mentors. You see, a mentor is someone that can show you the keys for success, because every generation needs to surpass the next generation. We just need to be willing to sit time with someone and to impart everything we have with him. And they just mustn't see us at the project. They see me engage with my wife, they see me engage in a business deal, they see me engage in all atmospheres and aspects of life, so they can learn and glean. And so where I knocked my head, they don't have to. So what took me 10 years can take them 10 months. So they always need to accelerate and go further than what I ever did. And my level of excellence, their level of excellence needs to be higher. And so we constantly need to do this, pouring out into a next generation to surpass.
Now, before I chat too long to you, one side. Emma, ek gaan 'n bietjie Afrikaans praat, maar Afrikaans is nie te sleg nie. Wanneer het jy begin met die 9 Miles project en hoe het jou lewe verander?
Ek het laas jaar eintlik begin en
Okay.
ek het begin as 'n volunteer
Ja.
by broer en som. Ek is bly ook aan die gemeenskap waar ons in werk en eintlik.
Okay.
En ek het soos ek gesê het, ek het al begin as 'n volunteer.
Ja.
En om eintlik regtig te sê vir jou nou hoe het dit my lewe verander.
Ja.
Ek kan eintlik 'n boek skryf oor dit van om die waarheid te praat. Soos Uncle Nigel ook gesê is regtig om te sien, en especially as jy van die gemeenskap kom. Jy sien daagliks wat gebeur in die gemeenskap. En om terug te gee vir die gemeenskap is niks om te gaan en jy gee vir hulle ietsie, maar om eintlik te werk, om regtig saam met hulle te stap Soos Uncle Nigel sê dit om met hulle te stap is iets regtig groot. Jy kan nie net vandag kom gee en môre sê wie gee. Dit is wat ons doen nie. So om jou antwoord te regtig, om jou vraag te antwoord. Ek nie regtig niet baie lank, ek nie baie tyd om dit regtig te beantwoord. Van daar is die woorde wat eintlik kan regtig vir jou sê wat se impact hier het gemaak in my lewe om net daar te wees.
Maar mag ek vra nou wat doen jy op die oomblik as deel van die 9 Miles projek?
As ek doen baie by die 9 Miles projek.
Onthou is dit die hele dag nie,
ja,
maar ek wil graag weet spesifiek wat doen
spesifiek,
jy?
ek help met alles. Ek maak kos, soos daagliks as die kinders daar is, maak ek vir hulle die kos. Ek help met die lees program wat ons ook doen. Ek help met dit. Om life skills daarin te gee ook vir hulle. Ek help met dit ook. So ek gaan nie eens uit in die water. Al kan ek nog nie surf nie. Ek is nog 'n jaar en 'n paar maande, maar ek kan nog nie reg surf nie.
Ek is trots op jou.
Maar die beste ding ook van dit is dat jy kan ook by die kinders leer en meeste van die tyd as ek ewens uitgaan met hulle alleen is, hulle leer vir my om te surf en meeste van hulle is al langer as wat ek daar is. So hulle leer vir my ook nou om te surf. So ja, is basically alles wat ek doen, maar ja.
So sê jy deur wat jy nou verander het, kan jy nou ander mense se lewe ook verander?
Natuurlijk kan ek. Van soos dit vir my ook as om iemand om 'n role model te hê in jou lewe is baie goed. Maar om te sien dat die role model eintlik uit jou gemeenskap uitkom, is iets groter.
Ja.
Van nou sien hulle, ek kom van daai.
Ja.
Ek het ook deurgegaan wat hulle deurgaan nou.
Ja.
Het ek ook deurgegaan, maar ek het verander. En daai is wat hulle sien. En daai is soms is iets wat die kinders moet sien. As iemand wat ook deur dieselfde situasies wat jy nou deurgaan, te sien hulle het verander. Daai is wat hulle nou ook die kinders ook sien en daai is wat die kinders ook sal nou meer maak dat hulle ook verander.
Dis briljant. So met ander woorde, mense kan nou identifiseer met jou.
Ja, hulle kan.
Ons het hier eintlik baie gepraat oor identiteit nie, so gaan 'n bietjie vir ek 'n kans gee. Gaan 'n bietjie oorslaan na Engels toe. For ek, thank you so much for joining us. I believe you started out at a very young age. Tell us a bit more about how the project impacted on your life when you started out. Maybe tell me a bit about you when you were 12 years old and where you're at now.
I started at the age of 13.
At 13.
So at the age of Don't worry, I'm also nervous.
At
the age of 13, I was like playing in the community.
Yeah.
And I saw the cars pulling up. I was thinking, who's this? With surfboards on the roof.
Yeah.
So I didn't know nothing of surfing. Not a single thing of surfing. I was just know of swimming, everything.
Yeah.
So they came the first time and we saw, hey, surfboards, everything. So me and my friend said, hey, let's go. Let's go check what is this out. And we didn't say we're going to stay so long. And we went for the first time, we went on biggie boots. And the experience on the first wave was, I want to go again.
Yeah.
And then the following week, we went again. And it was like a big event, and we started surfing.
Yeah.
So the first time on the surfboard was like, I must do it again.
So you just caught onto it.
Yeah.
I want to ask Nigel something very important, and I'm sure the two of you would be able to understand. There's many components and other programs that you offer. You mentioned reading, and you mentioned that you're being taught to surf. What do you offer? You offer life skills. Faik also mentioned something very important, life skills. Maybe before we wrap up, because we don't have a lot of time, but I wanted to hear how it was that you change and how you can give other people hope. But which components do you have? I think I have less than a second.
Okay, we do learning adventures.
Okay.
We do health assessments.
Okay.
We have arts and crafts. We have music.
Wow,
We
that's
have
a lot.
environmental component as well. And of course the literacy, the after school support program
Great.
for the kids. Yeah.
Where can they contact you?
So on our website, 9milesproject.org, and all on our social handles, 9Miles Project, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn.
You're well spread. Nigel, thank you so much. Emma, thank you so much. Faik, thank you so much for joining us. If there's anyone out there in Strandfontein, Elands Bay, or Cape St. Francis Bay, or close by, please go on their social media pages and contact them and really get a hold of Nigel, because there is hope for everyone. If you're in a gang-ridden area or drug-ridden area, to create change, but first just reach out to someone. Thank you so much for joining us today on Elle-Vate for Open Studio, and please join us next week. Thank you.